So, when you think of ancient Arabia, what comes to mind? I'm guessing it's probably endless desert, right? Or maybe the beginnings of a great religion. But what if I told you that one of the most important stories from this region was actually carved in stone, a staggering 6,000 years ago, by a culture we're only just beginning to understand? Well, this is the story of that stone.
And here it is. This is the Hale stele. Now, a stele is just an upright stone slab, often used as a monument or a grave marker. This one, carved from sandstone 6,000 years ago, happens to be one of the oldest human representations ever found in Arabia. I mean, just look at its form. It's so simple, yet it has this incredible presence. It feels like it's staring right through you, like a silent witness from the deep, deep past. So, a ton of questions pop up immediately, right? What is this figure? Who made it? And what in the world did it mean to them? Let's unpack the clues that are literally carved into its surface, because what they reveal is actually challenging a major assumption about the history of this entire region. Okay, to really understand this figure, we've got to start with the basics. But as you're about to see, every simple fact about this object is actually a clue to a much, much bigger and honestly, a far more surprising story. Here are the vital stats. It's an anthropomorphic stone marker. That's just a technical way of saying it's made to look like a person. The age is just mind-blowing, the 4th millennium BCE. To put that in perspective, that's older than the first pyramids. It was found near Hale in modern-day Saudi Arabia, and it stands about 3 feet tall, carved right out of the local sandstone. But you know, the real story isn't just in what it is, but who it is. The identity of this figure is carved right into its surface in a series of really fascinating details. So let's decode them. Notice how your eye is naturally drawn to 3 main areas. You've got the face, the chest, and the waist. Now, this was totally intentional. The artist used these specific zones to communicate a very specific identity. Okay, let's break this down. The head is a simple trapezoid shape with these kind of haunting, closely spaced eyes. There's a necklace hanging on the chest, and then you see 2 cords crossing the body, and they're holding a small pointed tool that's called an awl, which was used for piercing things like leather. And then at the waist, you can't miss that prominent belt holding a double-bladed dagger. So this isn't just any person. This is somebody with status and skill, maybe a warrior, a craftsman, or even a leader. For the longest time, the Hale stele was seen as this fascinating but totally isolated mystery. But then, archaeologists started finding others, and all of a sudden, it became crystal clear that this figure wasn't alone at all. Over 60. Yeah, you heard that right. In just the last 40 years, more than 60 of these stylistically similar figures have been unearthed all across the Arabian Peninsula. This completely changes the story from a local curiosity into a massive regional phenomenon. I mean, just look at the family resemblance here. While there are some local variations, of course, they all share that same core visual language, the abstract form, the focus on the human figure. The Hale stele wasn't some kind of outlier. It was part of a huge, interconnected tradition. Now, take a look at this map. The area where these have been found is immense. We're talking a stretch of 2,300 kilometers, from Jordan all the way down to Yemen. How on earth could a single artistic style cover such a gigantic territory 6,000 years ago? Well, the answer actually lies in the environment. You have to forget the desert we know today. Back in the Neolithic era, this whole area was a green savanna. It was full of communities of hunter-gatherers and early pastoralists, all connected by ancient caravan trails. And these trails, they didn't just move people and goods, they were basically highways for culture and ideas. And this is exactly where a simple stone figure becomes revolutionary. Because this vast network of human art doesn't just add to the history of Arabia, it forces us to completely rewrite it. So here's the core of the whole revolution. For a long, long time, the assumption was that Arabian art history really began with Islam, focusing on calligraphy and geometric patterns and actively avoiding the human form. Well, these stele just shatter that idea. They prove that for millennia before Islam, there was this rich tradition where the human figure was actually the dominant subject. This quote just perfectly captures the shift. It's the sudden, stunning appearance of figural representation in a land thought for so long to have none. It basically fills what we thought was a void in art history with this rich, ancient tradition we never knew existed. So, we now know a tradition existed across this vast network. But, of course, this leads us to the biggest question of all. What were these figures actually for? Why would anyone pour so much effort into carving these silent stone guardians? So, what role did the silent stone sentinel really play in its society? I mean, was it a god, a hero, an ancestor? Well, while we don't know for sure, the leading theory connects them to burial rituals. They were most likely grave markers, basically silent sentinels standing watch in these open-air sanctuaries. This also suggests that they probably weren't carved by just anyone. The skill involved points to specialist artisans who might have traveled between communities, sharing their craft along those ancient caravan trails. In the end, we may never know its exact meaning. But that doesn't really diminish its power, does it? It remains this incredibly expressive link to an individual, a person from a world that has long, long since vanished. And really, that's the thought I want to leave you with. It's not just an artifact, it's a face, it's a person. Who was the individual who spent countless hours carving this likeness? Were they mourning a loved one, honoring a hero? We may never know for sure. And that, right there, is the enduring, mysterious power of the Heil stele.